is the Creative Church Show. Tips, tricks, and shortcuts making church media easy for you and your team. All in under 10 minutes each week.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Creative Church Show. In this episode, we are going to be talking about 5 key ways churches can use Facebook groups. Hey guys, welcome back to the Creative Church Show. This is Josh, and I will be your host for this episode. Today's episode is going to be lots of fun. It's going to be exciting. We've got a lot of cool things to talk about. So the first question most people ask is, what is Facebook groups? Well, Facebook groups allow a group of people to come together online to share information about specific topics or subjects. These Facebook groups, when you go and you create them inside of your Facebook account, they basically have 3 different type of privacy settings. There's an open group, which basically means anybody and everybody can see the group. They can see what exactly has been posted on the timeline in that group. Basically, it's just open, free for all. Nobody has to register or be approved. It's just an open group that everyone can see regardless of if they're your friend or not. A closed group basically means that the members are visible to the public and the group page is visible to the public. But if you are not a member of the group, you cannot see the comments and the timeline that's taking place inside the group. So a closed group basically means you have to be invited or accepted into the group in order to see the conversation. Last type of group page that you can set up is a secret page, which basically can't be viewed by anybody unless they are a member. So even if somebody searches for your group, they won't be able to see it. They won't be able to see what's written on the timeline, the conversation, unless they are given permission to join the group. The first way that you can use Facebook groups, and I've used this pretty successfully in the past, is to launch a discussion group for a new sermon series. We recently did a series called The Budget Kit, and inside the Budget Kit, during one of the weeks, the pastor encouraged everybody to do what we call the 21-day financial fast, which was essentially just asking people to 21 days to not spend any money on unnecessary things. So we encourage people to not go to Starbucks, but to make their coffee at home, not eat out for lunch, but to brown bag it. So we decided to create this Facebook group that would allow people to share their stories, to share their struggles with us throughout the week as they were working on this fast. So we created a 21-day financial fast Facebook group that we allowed people to join, and they posted on the timeline, allowed our staff and pastors to be able to go share encouragement with people as they were working through this. So this Facebook group allowed us to connect the Sunday sermon to the rest of the week, and it worked really well. People still use it this day, even though the financial fast is over. So it was a great way to open up the discussion. Just use a simple Facebook group to continue the teaching from Sunday to people's everyday lives. The second way to use a Facebook group at your church is to use those group pages instead of creating fan pages. I know in my experience, every ministry leader will at some point come to you and ask you if you could create a Facebook page for their ministry. Whether it's kids ministry, student ministry, elderly ministry, whatever it is. At some point, I guarantee you that ministry leaders will come to you and ask you to create a page. We have found that creating groups instead of pages is a great way to be able to get information out to the people that need it. Going and creating pages for every possible ministry can be very difficult and time-consuming, and you don't always have people that can properly manage those pages, which are very visible to the public. And if you're managing your church brand in any sort of way, you know that you don't just want 20 people out there posting in these pages on behalf of your church. So a better way to do it is to create a Facebook group for these ministries It allows people to post these things, and you as the brand manager don't have to worry about it going out to the public, because groups are created in such a way that you have to request permission to join that group, or you have to, as the brand manager, invite somebody to join that group, so you know that your audience is controlled and it's not going out into the community, so you don't have to spend as much time worrying about the content on that group instead of a Facebook. Next way that we use Facebook groups is just a very practical way. We use it to manage volunteers. This is especially true for our worship and production teams. We do use Planning Center Online as a way to schedule people and push out music and let them know what the service is going to look like beforehand. But there are people who are difficult to get in contact with, so we use this to schedule those volunteers. We have a worship and production page, so if you are a volunteer in that ministry, you will become a part of that Facebook group. This just allows us to send out blasts to people, to send out cool videos of other churches doing cool worship sets. It allows us to send out blasts when a volunteer gets sick, last minute changes to the scheduling, send out a Facebook message that is asking audio technician for our Sunday night worship experience because our other guy got sick, and it's just a great way to blast out information so that people can respond to. Some people like to communicate by email or by phone or text. This is a great way just to do a mass send out, see if anybody responds. Now, this is obviously not our only way to communicate with volunteers, but it works really well as a secondary method to create these groups volunteers are a part of, so that we can share what's happening in our specific ministries, so that we share scheduling updates, whatever the case is. Having a group like this is a great way, extra way, to communicate with the volunteers who are part of that ministry. The fourth way that we've used Facebook groups is specific to one ministry, and that's our kids ministry. We have created a Facebook group page that is just for parents, and this allows us to connect with those parents throughout the week. As most of you know, there are a lot of kids that come to your church whose parents don't necessarily come on a regular basis, and so we wanted to figure out a way to communicate with those parents without being too intrusive, asking for their phone numbers and emails. So we created a Facebook group, and we've let those parents know that it exists, and we go and we find them and we invite them to this Kids Quest Facebook group for parents. And this is just a great way for our children's ministry people to connect with parents, to let them know about special events coming up, let them know having a pajama party, so their kids need to wear pajamas. Whatever it is, as you know, there's not a lot of 6-year-olds, at least I hope there's not a lot of 6-year-old Facebook accounts. And so we've decided just to create this group that is specifically for parents. They can join if they want, they don't have to, but just a way that we can communicate with them without sending hundreds and thousands of flyers home with the kids, not ever knowing if it ends up in the right hands. So creating a Facebook group for your kids ministry parents is a really great way just to communicate on that extra level with the parents of kids that attend kids ministry. This could also work with student ministries by creating a page, student ministry parents. I know that sometimes it's really hard to connect those parents to your Sunday morning experience, whatever you're trying to connect them to. So it's a great way to connect parents that might not get connected otherwise. Well, guys, that does it for episode 4 of the Creative Church Show. I'd love for you to stop by joshblankenship.me, check out the show notes there. I will link to a couple of the Facebook groups that I've used for my church in the past, so you can look and see exactly what it looks like. I hope that you guys really got something out of this, and I hope the wheels are turning, ways that you could use Facebook groups in your church. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to leave a rating for me in iTunes if you enjoyed this podcast, or share it with somebody you think might benefit from it. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you next week. And don't forget to do something creative that matters today.